Welcome to Stars Podcast, your growth mindset mecca. We are all about self-leadership principles here at Stars Podcast. Our guests come from all over the world with very unique stories of how they hack their way into success. As you'll quickly find out, nothing happens overnight. And as always, enjoy the journey. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Today we have two special guests coming in, the co-founders of Pirates of the Other Sea NFT, POTOS, Marcos and Celia, coming in to us. Marcos has been a longtime friend of mine, and I was introduced to Celia through an NFT giveaway, actually. She was one of the very first recipients of one of our Stars Podcast NFTs, and it was one of two NFTs inside of her wallet. So that was very interesting and a cool way to get introduced to her. Didn't even know that it was Marcos's wife, by the way. But yeah, so we have Marcos and Celia coming on. Marcos is the artist, developer, all of those things. Celia is a master marketer inside of the NFT and crypto space, Web3 in general. So please join me in welcoming Marcos and Celia, the founders of POTOS NFT. Hey guys, welcome back, Stars Podcast. This is Ron Jordan, your host, coming out of Rocinante Studios in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Today we have two special guests on the show today, Celia and Marcos from POTOS, Pirates of the Open Sea. What we're going to talk about today is, as you guys always know, we talk about growth mindset, and the POTOS project is one near and dear to my heart. I caught them super early, and it ended up becoming a really good friendship and partnership as a result. So I wanted to welcome Celia and Marcos. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Hey man, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So excited.
So I wanted to jump in. The reason why you have access to the show early on is you got one of the Web3 NFTs from Rocinante Studios, in which some of that, those of you who know the Web3 space and NFTs, there was unlockable content inside of that NFT, which gave you a 1-hour podcast. And this guy has been hodling for months. And now is really the perfect time to put it out there because you are doing a relaunch on POTOS. But before we get into POTOS, I want to talk about you and Celia being in this space together. It's a really unique perspective. And I'd be curious what you guys think about, just the growth mindset that you have to have as a couple to really move forward together. What was that first conversation like with you two and jumping into the space?
Well, I jumped in first when, as soon as I jumped in, I met a couple of B friends, and then I met you. And then, I think it was like maybe a month after, I was just showing her, and then she was like, okay, that's some like nice images. These are a little too expensive to my taste. It's like,
Can we show me? I was like, that is so cute. You showed me the crypto cats, I think it was the first one that you showed me.
Kitties,
the crypto kitties, sorry.
I was trying to explain how it works, the logistics and the breathing and how the NFT works, but she was just looking at the image. So
I was like, that's nice super drawing. Cute, but why would I pay that much money?
Yeah, and then you start getting into the conversation as to why you spend that much money on it and the access to that community and the access to the resources within. So yeah, I went through a very similar conversation. It's like, yeah, those are cute, but why?
Why exactly?
Right. Yeah. So how did you bridge that gap, Marcos, with the why?
Well, it was like eye-opening to me because at first, whenever obviously the very first thing or the first website you basically look at is either OpenSea or one of these third-party markets. It's like, okay, so they're expensive. So it's like, collecting baseball cards. So that's what Gary V was saying, at first, like it's just collectibles and all that. But then, shortly after, you get to figure out the immense utility of some of these tokens have. Like, you go to the back end of things, and then you get to join their Discord, and then you get to meet the people behind it and the team. And not only that, but you see that other people are like chipping into the project too. So it's basically your entry card to this community, and access to what you wouldn't have if you didn't have it.
Absolutely. And then the cool part too that I've always noticed was like, whenever you have a ticket to something, it's usually an event. Like you have a ticket to an event and then you go to the event and the ticket stub is dead. Like you can't use it again. But with NFTs, the unlimited use and it never expires. That's the part to me that took it from baseball card to business utility, life utility, tokenomics, like all of those things because of the no expiration date. So I'm glad you brought that up. So with that, whenever you started talking about the utility side of it, Celia, what about the utility side? Like, did it ring true to you, or were you still like, what the heck are you talking about?
I was still like, I don't understand. I have no clue, but I knew that it was a way for him to showcase his art. He's always been so amazing, such an amazing artist. And it was a way for him to do what he loves, right? So that's what, like, for me, I was supporting. Sorry, I'm thinking in Spanish and translating in English. I don't know.
Hey, if you, whichever way you want to do it. I'm sure somebody out there will be able to understand it.
I was supporting him through that part, right? But I was still not sure what was happening. And I would hear his phone go like a lot of messages in the middle of the night.
I would join like all these discords, and then
I was like,
each one of them are like super cool conversations, and then it gets to a point that you need to figure out, you need to find a balance in like how many discourse I'm gonna be able to handle.
Yeah.
But he would like get messages in the middle of the night. I was like, it's gonna wake the kids. Why are you getting so many messages? And he's like, it's the NFT people. I'm like, well, they need to sleep, like what's happening? And it was just one thing after the other. But he met vaginas. And he was like, but you have to get in there. And he did the meditations in the morning with Clubhouse. And I would just listen to him talking. And I was like, with the kids, whatever. And I was like, but I don't understand. Like, and he's like, but you have to jump in. The community is so amazing. And you would love it. Vaginas, like they're just exactly like you.
I think that was like Vaginas was like the catalyst or the she got to that perfect community or group, and then she was like, okay, I'm gonna.
It was that. I was like, I don't have time. I have the kids. I have work. I don't have time.
Yeah, of course.
He's like, but it's not. You're not gonna be doing anything, right? Like you're just gonna be talking to people. I'm like, no, I get too shy. I'm not, no, but just listen to them. No, I was still like, no, so close.
You were in the no bubble.
No,
you're like, no.
I'm like, no, like I love what you're doing. I love that you're selling your art. I love everything you're doing, but that's not for me. Like you do your thing, I do mine, and that's not for me. Okay. And then one day he just put vaginas while we were, I don't remember what we were doing, and then I started listening to Sarah singing, and I'm here singing too because I love to sing. She's like, welcome to Vaginas. And I was like, yeah, woohoo. And then she's like doing all this raffles and she's putting the music, and then Elisa too. And I was here dancing, and I was like, okay, I'm liking this. So I joined, and he's like, okay, just join Vaginas, right? They have their Discord, they have everything. So I was like, okay, I was super nervous. I joined Twitter, and he showed me Gary Vee, and he's like, you have to create your wallet. I'm like, you do it. I have no clue what that is. And then he created the wallet, and that's when you sent me your one of my first NFTs, because it was, you send me one, then Ron sent me one, and you're like, oh, I want to send you something. I'm like, no, don't send me anything.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. And here's the best part. I didn't even know who you were. I did not know who you were. I literally didn't know that you were Marcos's wife. Didn't know that at all.
Really?
It just randomly, just like, because that's what I do. Like when there's a new wallet that comes on the board, I'm like, hey, I'll send you an NFT. Like no problem at all. I love doing it. I love being, in early and having people have a good experience. And then it comes out that you were Marcos's wife. And I was like, the universe is unbelievable.
That's so awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea who you were.
I thought you were doing it because you were Marcos's friend.
I didn't even know who you were until like a week later.
Really? That's doing? No, I was like, like, no, you don't have to give me anything because you had already been with Marcus and you were helping him. You were like, I was like, no, you don't have to give me anything. I'm like, no, only if I do something, I like receiving things, but not like just like a gift, like out of nowhere. So I was like, no. And then I thought to myself, maybe he's thinking that I don't care about his NFTs, that I'm like,
so rude.
Like, yeah, so like,
so rude.
I'm being super rude. So I'm like,
how do you look
like,
a gift horse in the mouth and say no?
Yeah, so I was like, no, like I really like them, but
Yeah.
And then you gave me that one, and I loved it. I love jokes. I love that. I love that.
But what a unique experience though, whenever you first come on the scene, because you got one directly from Gary's wallet too.
Yeah, that was the next one.
Insane, because I remember whenever I looked in there, it was a POTOS. I think it was a coin, maybe. I can't remember, but it was a POTOS, mine, and then the one from Gary's wallet. Like those were your three first NFTs, and I was like, holy crap, I'm beside, like my token is beside these two amazing tokens. I was actually happy too, just because I was there.
Yes, I was trying to get all these giveaways. Like I was like, if I can join because we don't have the money like to invest, I'm just gonna do all the giveaways. And that's what I was trying to do. And then Gary posted it like exactly that. He's like, if you don't have money to spend, then don't invest the money that you don't have, blah, blah, blah. And it was 2 a.m. in the morning. And we were here trying to get the NBA Top Shot free pack, right? And we were trying to get it. And I just found it so funny that he did that. So I just posted, that's why I join every single giveaway that I see, because we have to pay mortgage and feed the kids first. And then the next message that I get is, what's your wallet address? And I'm like, what? From
GV.
And I was like, I started shaking. And he's like, what's happening? I'm like, he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, Gary B just texted me this. I don't understand. Like, what's happening? He's like, he wants to give you an NFT. I'm like, no. He's like, yeah. Just fund him. I'm like, I don't even know how to copy that. And then he showed me how I sent it. And then he sent me a space bunk. It was actually a space bunk. And I was crying, I was shaking. And then the team from Spacepunk sent me a message saying, we don't like every rocket has 2 seats. So we don't want yours to be alone in space. So here's another one. I was like, what is going on? And they started sending me, and next week you're gonna get, every single person that has a space bunk is gonna get a space dino. I'm like, I went from having, yours and Marcus's NFT to having like 4 other ones. Like it was just crazy.
That was crazy.
And good ones too.
Yeah.
And it was, and then everyone was just so nice. That's what really got me into NFTs. How everyone was so nice. Gary V showing everyone that they need to be kind, that they need like everything. I was like, oh my God, this is another world. Like, why are we in real life fighting for people like, oh no, like business people being super mean to their employees? And here is this person telling everyone to be super nice, and everyone is following him to be super nice. It
is the beauty of the blockchain, like working collectively towards the same goal. And we all know that there's room to grow. So,
and that's the part to me that has drawn me in so closely to it, is I've been saying, and I point to space exploration all the time, because that is really one of the, that and like NATO and those types of collectives. But when you can take the like Earth as a whole team, Earth as a team, and then point us in the right direction, like point in one direction, it's unbelievable what we can do. So if you have a team that is like this collective inside of NFTs, and you do things together and you share the wealth and becomes a decentralized unit, That's essentially what you're doing. And that's the part to me that drew me in so close. I'm glad that you brought it up, Celia, is like when that's happening, when everybody's winning, everybody's happier.
Yes.
And that's the cool part, is nobody is like, I know it's hard for me to even imagine like a classless system, because I've lived through classes, like always, like I've always lived through a hierarchy of kind of structure, and to see it sort of being leveled a bit and having more equal opportunities inside of this space. Like, you don't have to ask anybody to post anything on Twitter, on anywhere. Like, you can, inside of your Discord, you don't have to ask anybody to post it. And that's a really unique situation that's not acceptable worldwide. And we're seeing that play out in real world right now, where those types of things are happening. So inside of this little echo chamber, as we like to call it in the NFT space, and the Web3 blockchain, whatever your acronym is like, that's the part to me that has been so monumental and given everybody an opportunity, like yourselves too. So you're saying that, you don't have the money to put in and invest in those types of things, but you do have the skills necessary to put forward a project. And that's where I'd like to dive into next. As POTOS comes to a relaunch, I'd like to understand, where did the idea of POTOS come from? Maybe we can start there, and how it's been from as a couple's perspective, because now you're in sort of like a family business now. And you and Celia, you went from, not wanting to have any tokens or anything to do with this. You don't have time to, now you're like Discord managing and all of these things. So there's a lot to unpack there, and to get there is going to take a second, but I'd love to understand, where did POTOS originate from?
Well, I always wanted to be a pirate. This is how I started everything, like plundering stuff, being the bad guy. My sea vessel. That was like the first thing that I thought when I jumped into OpenSea. I was like, you know what? I really want to create one of the collections. But at first I was like going crazy, because you see this 5,000 collection, 10,000 collections, and me, as a beginner, I was like, how the hell do they find time to create 5,000 different images? So, I started digging in. I go to GitHub, I start seeing scriptings, and then this is when I jump to Python. It's like, okay, so this is like a mix and match kind of thing. You grab traits, you create them, you mix and match them, and then the system generates itself. And like me, even the dork that I am, I just jump right in. It's like, okay, I think I'm gonna do it myself. So I created the traits, I launched, but it was very hard for me at first, because I didn't know, Solidity and the smart contract back then. So I was like, kind of like lazy minting them, like one by one. So I was like, okay, so if I have to do 5,000, I'm gonna go crazy. So this is what I thought about, doing the seasons. Yeah, somebody helped me do the lazy mint.
And for those of you who don't know, lazy minting is on OpenSea. You can do it for, I would say it's a very time consuming process, but if you're just starting and you want to understand the blockchain, I think it's a really unique opportunity for you to just like put something up on there, and then you can look through Etherscan and start using some of the tools. And I'm sure that, that's sort of where you went to with that. So you created it on an OpenSea, and you have it all listed. What happens after that?
Well, what happened after that, it was actually was I was gonna say GoDaddy. NFTs happened after that. So, shortly after that, it's where you come into the picture, and then somehow, I think it was in one of the meditation rooms, we started talking about, maybe we should do a big collaboration between, a lot of people. So, we started growing, and then started brewing the idea, and then started like a little back and forth in the Discord. And then this is where the other guys come in, like, David, Duran, and Steven. And then each one of us is working on like a piece of things, like a different field of the project. And then we launched. So I was like, that was my switch. So it's like, you know what? We did it with NFTs, and it was flawless. I was so proud that we had like 0 error when we launched.
It was insane. Especially when you look around the space, anybody who's been here for a little bit has watched other projects. you know, they have all of this big following and they have all this hype, and then they go to launch and they have to push it, or they have to cancel it, or they have issues. And we've had 5 launches now that have gone really well. They've gone really well. And I say that like looking for wood to knock on, because like,
oh, me too,
you know, but let's back up before we even get to NF Daddies, because you even coming up with Pirates of the Open Sea, I think speaks to your background as a marketer and your lifelong endeavors that you have going on. I mean, you're no slouch, man. You've worked for the Chamber of Commerce. You've done marketing. You've done digital like you've done a lot. You're not just like some schlub around
I'm still
here.
working with the chambers. I'm the weirdo that goes in like, you know, start talking about NFTs and the blockchain. Yeah. I no longer talk about marketing anymore. So I jump in and hey, you should jump in. You should tokenize your business.
But you having that understanding, and so let me back up for a sec. Because when we come up with ideas, it's one thing. Like you come up with an idea and you think it's the best thing in the world, and it's your idea. So like you're obviously blinded by that. I'm talking like me. If I brought an idea to you, you're able to filter that based on, you ask questions of your prospective clients. You ask a lot of questions trying to get an understanding of what they're looking for. And through your brain and through that marketing background and through like what has worked in the past, you spit out some of the most amazing pieces of work, whether it's collectibles, whether it's wearables, if it's a piece of metaverse buildings, like you're doing it all. So when you came up with Pirates of the Open Sea, to me, I was like, how are there not more pirate projects out there? Because like, duh, it just makes sense. So yeah, I just wanted to like give you props on that and kind of give your background a little bit too, because I think that's important whenever you're talking about a project and a proven track record, because you always bet the jockeys, right? You don't really bet the hype, you bet the jockeys, and you have a proven track record of pulling that through, and Celia too, inside of the Discords. And, you know, you guys are moving and shaking out there. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the Pirates of the Open Sea relaunch. Can you give a little bit of because I've seen some of the stuff you're doing. You do a lot of the you do a lot of time lapses, some live streams as well. You know, run me through kind of what you guys have going on. You also do game nights. I mean, you're very, very busy with Pirates of the Open Sea.
I'm like the private guy. You know, I'm super happy in my man cave with my potato computer and the tablet, just drawing. But Celia is basically making me do that. You know, I'm not big on sharing, but this is it was part of the thing when she jumped in POTOS, so like, you know, we're gonna work together now for the relaunch. She came up with all these amazing ideas, which sound amazing on paper, but then when I have to take it live, so like, okay, I have to share how I'm working, and I'm very like, I judge myself too much. So like maybe I'm putting a little too much of a shadow here, so people will see like, you know, what is he doing?
Yeah.
So I was like kind of shy at first, but it's the essence. What we wanted to share was like how we created it from scratch. Like we started doodling we have like pieces of paper everywhere in the desk, and then we digitized them. But we started showing every single step of the way, like how we start from the idea to execution. And then, you know, it kind of grew, because now whenever we go live, like our friends jump in and say, hey, why don't you put an octopus in the head, because it will look funny, right? And then we just create that trait you know, in the live. And, you know, that'll be one of the traits when it comes to the pirates.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted the community, since I said, like, for me, the community was what brought me in. So I wanted the community to be able to be part of POTOS, you know, to get a trait that they saw how it was created, to get a trait that they wanted, like, right? So at first we started with asking people to tell us what traits they wanted. And we did that on Twitter. And they're gonna be able to name that trait, right? But then I was like, I want them to see how you do it. So I was like, let's just jump into Instagram lives, and then they can see how you do them. You can be like showing them how to do them, because I love that about him. If he's working, he's sharing how to do it, right? It's like, and then you see that the light is here. And if you're an artist, you'll understand. I have no clue. Like, he's really good at explaining, but my brain doesn't go there.
But your brain does go in the spot that it's like the community building. So that's why I like that you guys have teamed up, because as he was just saying, like, he's very, very much reserved and in there, and then you are the other side of it.
And that comes because we are both doing what we love to do. I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a public PR, and I was a journalist. So for me, like sharing what he's doing, that's what I used to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And community management, I love that, and I'm also a teacher. So for me, like bringing people together and sharing something, it's like, that gets me going, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can even tell, you just get the heightened excitement of even talking about it makes you really happy. And I had no idea that you were a PR journalist, teacher. Like, yeah, this all makes total sense now.
Yeah, I used to be a PR actually for different artists, Latino artists, for Daddy Yankee, for Elvis Crespo, for different artists. And then I also teamed with my mom to be the Latino PR for Fisher Price. And then we had we have a talent agency where we put artists, and we get them together with different brands. So for OxyClean and different brands, we get them together. So all of that, just, and being able to then have him like to showcase everything that he does, every amazing art that he does, like that for me, like, and seeing how people love his art, and that does it for me. And that's how I was like, okay, let me just set aside the teaching, because I was teaching online to Chinese children, and I would wake up since 6 a.m. And so I was like, okay, let me set that aside and focus on bringing POTOS together, bringing that together, and having.
Yeah, now the Discord is like popping. Every time I'm in there, it's like, holy crap, there's 72 messages to catch up on. There's announcements. It's very exciting, and to see what you guys have going on over there, inside of Discord, inside of Twitter, and just all of that engagement and organic growth that you have.
Yeah, we didn't want POTOS to die, because even though at the beginning it was just a few people that were jumping in, buying the original POTOS, and then he jumped with NFTs, we didn't want POTOS to be forgotten, because it's our baby, right?
No. And yeah, it was, it froze for a minute, and I made it, because back then it was just me doing the thing, and then Celia was helping me with like data entry on OpenSea and all that. But I made it like public, saying this is gonna be frozen for a period of time. We're working on this other project. But then that's where the light bulb light up. So like, why don't we just relaunch? We upgraded the graphics, we upgraded the roadmap, and that is huge, because back then it was just the story. And then some of the utilities that I thought it was, you get maybe a personalized POTOS, we'll do some giveaways. That's pretty much it. But this is where Celia comes in and says, we should really jump into helping a nonprofit, or join a cause. And I think it was like a common thing. Even before we met each other, we were really, really fond of the idea of helping people that don't get access to
clean water.
And I worked in a couple of projects prior to even getting into the blockchain, but it wasn't, we didn't have this reach. Like, we have this potential right now to say, like, if we sold out of POTOS, we can potentially help build 10 wells on 10 different villages.
10
right?
water projects. Sponsor 10 water projects. That's helping at like around 3,000 people get access to clean water. And that's just amazing because there's 771 million people without clean water.
Right.
That's twice the population of the USA. And that's not acceptable.
No, that's a basic function of life, that if you don't have basics taken care of, you can't kind of elevate yourself because you're always worried about survival.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, the clean water stuff, it always gets me. Clean water, hunger, shelter, those projects, like just giving basic necessities so people can begin to learn and not have to worry about the water and the food and the shelter. They can read, or they can tell stories to each other, and they can share the information as opposed to just continuing to grind to survive.
Exactly.
That's a really unique perspective.
Because it's not even that like they have to walk thousands of miles, right? And
yeah,
it's not like they walk and they reach clean water and that's it, I'm happy. No, they're getting water that can be fatal, right? That they know that if they drink it, that if they give that water to their kids, that can potentially kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
but it's either that or nothing. So this project, and the POTOS is not the only project that's working on this. But we're doing like 20% of the profits is gonna go straight to charity water.
Love it.
Yeah, and we have the page. We investigated different charities that do this, but this is the one that spoke to us. 100% of the profits go to the wells, and they hire local companies to do the project. So they are giving indirectly, when you donate to charity water, indirectly you are also hiring people from that community, right? You're
bringing jobs to the place. Yep.
Exactly. And we spoke with them, and we have already our webpage set for them, and we're going to be doing this. We could have done it as the smart contract to send directly to charity water, but we spoke to them and we came to the realization that it's better to give it as a whole for the money for each project, right? Because that way it's like it's all coming together to sponsor that project and not just little by little.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
We're doing it.
Very cool. So whenever you're talking about doing all of these things and going into a project and being in multiple projects and the balancing act with a family, here at Stars Podcast, we talk about growth mindset all the time. And one of the things that I do like to ask is, how do you keep the schedule, or how do you keep the tasks from overwhelming you and getting to a point where it's manageable? Like, do you have a daily, like you were talking off camera about, lists that we create? Maybe you can just share with our listeners, maybe some of the things that you guys do to keep a daily task list or a daily to-do list, and how you manage that.
The secret is that she does, I don't. And that's how we move forward.
No, that's not true.
Happy wife, happy life. I understand that.
That's how it works.
No, we do have a list of things that we need to accomplish, and we have priorities, right? So that, okay, this task gets prioritized before this one, and things that we need to accomplish that day. And as I was saying, adding things that were not in the list, but that we already did. And
it's kind of cheating though.
It's not. Okay.
I don't think it's cheating. For those of you out there that are doing things that you put on, so like you did them, but you still put them on the list so you can cross them off.
Just for the satisfaction.
If it was in the same day, it counts. I'm just saying.
Exactly. Right. He doesn't like that. He's like, but you already did it.
You're taking up space on the list.
But I
things
did,
to do. Anyway,
it's something that, well, okay,
fine.
that's one little
So
thing.
yeah, like when it comes, going back to the question here, one of the biggies for POTOS is the games. So whenever we're hosting game nights, we either take turns, because it kind of matches the time when the kids go to bed. So it's either Celia hosts, or if the kids are asleep, we both jump in. And if the kids are asleep, we can do Pictionary. Whenever we jump live, we start drawing on the screen, and then people guess, or we do the trivia. Everything depends kind of like on the kids too.
On the kids, yes, because they move their.
Yeah, they don't have a schedule.
Yeah, they don't, and they just want to join. They try to push their sleep until like they can be in game night.
They stretch the day as much as they can.
As much as they can, because they want to be in game night. And Ron, that you have a little fan in the family, and he wants you to win everything.
That was one of the other game nights. That's like Mati, he was just cheering like, I want Ron to win, and he was on camera like, no, we're not cheering
for anyone specifically.
Equal for everyone. No, Ron has to win.
And I was winning there for a while, and then I got whooped on after that. So it sounds like you guys have a good communication as a couple too. Is you're taking turns, and it seems like it's working out for you. And I think that's something that those of us in this Web3 space and kind of getting into it, it consumes you. It like consumes you and consumes everything. So having your partner in crime with you as you navigate through it has obviously kind of pushed you both along as in the project, in life, and with the kids and all of that. And I think that's just fantastic. As you guys know, my wife and I are in this space together as well. And that's without having her support inside of this ecosystem. I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at, because you'd have to be worrying about, am I putting in too much time here? Am I not putting in time there? And when you're in it together, you're putting in time together. And I've always said this about my relationship, and maybe you can echo this, was like, the more things we do together, the more together things we have, I think the stronger our relationship is.
Definitely.
You should have things that are not together, of course. Like, you shouldn't do everything together, because you still need to have your own identity outside of a relationship. But I think it's really important to do things together, and you guys are doing that. So I love that. I love seeing that in couples, and then it's like a big topic of discussion, even in the space too. I don't know have you talked to other couples or other people inside of the space to like get their couple in?
Yes. We actually have a lot of couples in POTOS. We have Wee and Mama Sar.
Actually, there was one of our members made his wife join just to jump into the game night.
Yeah, well, we have two. We have Wee. He got Mama Sar to join. Wee, yeah. And he got Mama Sar to join, and she won that day. And she's amazing. That was
the very first night she joined into the game night.
And she's amazing. And she got the dinosaur trophy, and it was just so funny.
But that's the beauty of it,
to show that she is better than her partner at game night.
Right.
We're either strengthening the bonds or creating a lot of divorces. But
no.
One or the other. Hey, we'll just cut to the chase and we'll figure it out. Are we together or are we not?
And then we had Jeffy, who he brought his girlfriend to NFTs just because of POTOS.
That was beautiful. I totally see my timeline on his chat, actually, because he was teaching her everything that I was teaching Celia back then when we started, and it was like kind of like reliving the moments, but like from the outside. It's weird.
And it's beautiful. It's
really
beautiful
nice
to see them and how invested they are in our project, and that's just beautiful to see how everyone's liking.
You can grow. Yeah, you just grow together, and that's the part too that I like that you guys. And I think the sign of a good project in any type of business is whenever you have your your people grow with you, you know, your community grow with you and have a say in what happens inside of that culture. And that's the part that somebody asked the other day, and they said, and maybe you guys can chime in on this too. This is a great question, was what comes first, the community or the, like, the community values drive who comes in, or does who comes in drive the community values? Like, what comes first?
I think the community values, right? It comes from the team. If it comes from the values of the team, what you present. So you, how do you say that? Que traes a la gente.
You attract.
There you
go.
Thank you. So you attract that community with the same values as the team. And then they attract the people with the same values. So I think it comes from the team's values, not exactly from the community at first.
All right.
That's what I think. What do you think?
I think the opposite. No, I don't think the opposite. I think it goes hand by hand, because, you know, as your community grows, you as either a community manager or you know, the owner of the collection, you change as well, because you see how the community, you know, how everything is moving forward.
But you have your values set, like the main value. That's what he was saying.
So and that's it. That's exactly it, Celia, is like, you have the main pillars set. And this is how I answered it too, was like, your main pillars are set. So we're educating and donating and sort of uplifting this with our badges collection, this like behavior inside of our ecosystem. Like, we're congratulating and uplifting positivity and teaching and bringing people in an organic way, not trying to spam and those types of things. So like, those are the pillar values. However, Marcos, like you're talking about, is like, as more people come in, there's more opportunity to listen to more people and then say, okay, there's a lot of folks saying that they like, we'll say books, for example, they like to read books. Well, now we have something else that fits in, maybe not a pillar, but is a piece of our community. Now we have a books channel, or we have a book club, and being able to pivot like that as a project has been pretty cool, that I've watched you guys do. And then we've done it at Daddy's, and I've seen a lot of projects do it. And I think it's the sign of a really great project that listens to their community.
Yeah. I think this is why we're also seeing, you know, like, people are calling it either the roadmap 2.0 or the extension of the roadmap, but it's basically like the collections are evolving into, you know, okay, so we're not just a collection, we're a community moving together toward a goal, or, you know, as people chip in more, we have more stuff to do.
Right. I always think about like YouTubers and anybody who's been like this from the ground up, because those are the places that I've watched like build from the ground up, or Twitch streamers and YouTube streamers. And like, whenever you see, even like as recent, I listened to this comedian, his name is Chris D'Elia. I don't know if you've ever watched Chris D'Elia, but he does this, he does like a little segment with the fighter and the kid, and Chris D'Elia, he gets interrupted all the time. So whenever he gets interrupted, he's like, wait a minute. And then he does this oops thing, and he throws an oops grenade. And he's like, you interrupted me. I was about ready to say something and you interrupted me. So I'm interrupting you by saying, like, he goes like, ooh, and he draws it out. Well, now there's like, if you listen to him and you're a fan of his, now they have sweatshirts and t-shirts and all these things that you can support. And I think that's a really cool thing, just like you did with like Mamasaur, and you did a dinosaur trophy, you know, like those types of things are really cool from a community building perspective, and listening to that. So I just can't say it enough that you guys are doing that as a project, and it's noticeable. It's very noticeable that you're doing that. And it's a great thing. I think it's a really great thing. So that being said, what can we expect out of POTOS 2, and what, when launch? Of course, that's always the question. But you don't have to give out too much alpha if you don't want to. But I'd like to understand like what changes with POTOS 2.0, other than the glaring fact that there are ladies now inside of POTOS.
Actually, I think that's the first change that we made, like the upgrade.
Yes,
to it.
It was not.
It was, I think it was like in also, again, P-Giant has come into play a lot here, because
Mhm.
that was the very first feedback that I got back then. It's like, why isn't there any pirate ladies? So I was like, I don't know. I was just doodling. But then, Celia came in, and then we basically created like 2 collections in one, because we did trades for females and males too. And each one of the genders has their own races too. Like we have orcs, we have elves, we have
robots.
oh my god, we have a bunch. We have like close to 12 different races, and each one of them has different things on them. So it's gonna be very, very, a very, very, how do you say this?
I don't know.
Like they're gonna look very different to each other.
Oh, okay.
So how does that work for all of us nerds out there that are listening in? How does that work from the code perspective? Whenever you have the mixed genders like that, did you have to do a lot of coding?
50-50.
Oh yeah, so we can have like the exact same amount of male and female pirates.
Not just
So it can be
5%
equal.
female. No, this is
Yeah.
50-50.
But whenever you do it that way inside of the random generation, whenever you're doing that, I'm curious, like how you got it to be. So did you have a trait in there? If female, these are the list of ones that you get, and if male, these are the list that you can choose from.
Correct. It's kind of like if this then that situation.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's the correct name, right? Like conditional formatting, saying if you have like the main trait, the main gender trait, then the following traits are gonna follow that trait. We might have some traits that go well with both. Let's say, for example, the captain hat is gonna go great with both. Maybe Celia is gonna want to bedazzle the female one, but we'll see how it goes. The earrings also is gonna be like unisex. And the orbs. The orbs is one of the things that we added. Now we have like close to 12 to 15 traits. Back then we had like 9 or so. Traits are like different things that we have on the face, and the nose, the beard, and all that. We added a lot of those, and one of the biggest one is going to be like the orb, which is each one of the pirates is going to be holding an orb, like a circle that is glowing in a certain color. And this is where I'm going to shut up, because either sometimes I talk too much, and this is going to play a big role in the story. The end.
Yeah.
And
that cliffhanger is nice.
Yeah. The reason we wanted to bring females as well was because he said, it can be for another collection, or we can do like we can give, as we were seeing that other collections were doing, we can just airdrop the females to the holder.
Oh, that was,
and I was like,
I told him, what, the way that I can see it working, because we already uploaded a bunch of pirates in OpenSea back then. So I was like, what if we drop them their female version of that pirate for free? And then when I say for free, she was like, oh.
I cannot do the head because my head is
no.
But that came out. I was like, in that moment, I was like, no, we're not free.
Equal value.
Like, so you cannot say that you're gonna give them for free, because we're not free. Like
I love that.
We are exactly the same. Like, no, yeah, I understand, but that's like, other collections are doing this. I don't care what other collections are doing.
I was just trying to figure out a way to fix this issue, like the way that I can, right? So I didn't want to go back to, hey, can you give me back the pirate? I'll give you the female one if you want.
Word.
But then, now that we're relaunching, everything's going to be randomized. So whenever you go and click mint, you can get a female pirate or a male pirate. And each one of them are going to, have their respective traits on them.
And isn't this the fantastic part about having somebody else on your team?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that's why I love, like, just in our team, having other folks weighing in and like giving us ideas. And like, even in our mod channel, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Because like, there's only so much that like your brain and your life experience can bring to the table. And while that's super valuable and it's very valuable, everybody has something different. And if you're trying to build a community, you need more input to be able to feed to them. So I absolutely love that you guys are a team and you're building your team. And it's like, just the pirates themselves is so eclectic. And I guess my question too is, and I'm sure that maybe this is why you stopped, and feel free to not answer this, but And as opposed to just being a PFP, what is ultimate goal of POTOS?
We are going to have different things coming on. Obviously, we are just going to share in our treasure map, because it's not a roadmap, because we're pirates. We're going to share we're going to share just what we are 100% sure that we can accomplish. We're not over promising. We're not telling you everything that we want to do, because we have a lot of things. Like we have a list of ideas.
We're not going to over promise. Yet, you know, we're still growing on capabilities or what we're able to do or add to the you know, having a benefit of owning the pirate. But you know, there's gonna be some extra booty.
Yeah, right now we're doing giveaways of ledgers. I always say it wrong. Did I say it correctly? Yes. Okay.
That was right.
I always say it wrong, and he's correcting me. So yay, I got it. So we're doing giveaways of ledgers so that obviously our pirates can keep their booty safe. They can hide it from being plundered. We're doing, if you mint 5 POTOS, then you can get your customized one, right? So if you get 5 POTOS, then you send your picture or the picture that you want your personalized POTOS to look like. So if you mint 5 POTOS on Ronald, then you can send your photo or Elisa's photo or B's photo, and then you can get that pirate look like the person that you want it to look like.
That's cool.
And you're gonna get the hard copy one signed and the NFT. And that's
wow.
Like the 6, you're gonna get a 6 pirate that is gonna be customized to look like, you know, whoever you want.
Thank you. That's
one sentence.
Yeah,
super cool. I mean, you guys are, again, just with the ledgers and being able to educate folks on how to stay safe in the Web3 blockchain and what that all means with the ledger, and then giving the access and the ultimate experience, you know, being a part of that journey with you through all of these lives, through the game nights, and through talking in the Discord and Twitter, and just becoming a part of your family really is what this ends up becoming. And then at the end of it, you guys get to tip your hat and say, yeah, we donated and provided water to people in need. Talk about just fulfillment, you know, that's a community to be a part of. And then it's actually kind of interesting too. And I just thought of this is like, you have OpenSea, which is water. Part of your nonprofit is water as well.
That's
so it's very,
as well. I was like, oh, we need to do, at first we thought about cleaning the ocean, right? And then I was like, wait a second, we've always wanted to provide clean water. Like, what are we doing? No, let's stay focused to what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Here's another cliffhanger. That is no longer Pirates of the Open Sea.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the things that we made change. Now it's Pirates of the Other Sea.
The other seas.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, we're coming up on the top of the hour. I'd love to talk to you for the rest of the day today, but I have to be mindful of everybody's time here. I want to know if you have anything else that you'd like to get across to our listeners. And then also if there's anything anything you want to get across to our listeners, just let's shoot for that. Either one.
Yeah, get it.
You want to talk about the balloon or?
Okay, yeah. So just if you can join us in our Discord and in our Instagram lives, and we're doing a lot of giveaways for the doubloons, which are our pre-order tokens. And with that pre-order token, you get access to mint up to 5 POTOS for 0.04 ETH instead of the 0.05 that is going to be in public sale. So just join us and let's have fun together.
Marcos, do you have anything to get across?
No, we get everybody stay safe.
And let your inner pirate out.
And be pirate, yes.
Get your inner pirate out. All right, guys, you heard it. Celia, Marcos from Pirates of the Open Sea. Other Sea, Pirates of the Other Sea.
Yeah.
I have to start changing that language. You heard it here first, guys. They are moving and shaking inside the Web3 space. They are a force to be reckoned with, a power couple in the making. And as always, enjoy the journey. Take care, guys.
Thank you so much for sticking here until the very, very end.
if you wouldn't mind just leaving a comment or subscribing or liking the podcast or wherever you downloaded this, maybe it was from YouTube, I would love for that. You take an extra couple seconds to give us some more love, even though you have listened here to the very, very end. We appreciate that so much. Could you also go over to thestarspodcast.com if you found any of this really interesting and you wanted to dive in a little bit further, or go to our Discord, which is Rocinante Studios NFT. Enjoy the journey. And be sure to check out our Twitter Spaces Tuesday live crew at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Free NFTs and POAPs.